Picture this, a quiet, tree-lined street in Willow Creek Meadows, a suburban haven I thought would be my sanctuary. I'm Ethan Caldwell, a guy who crafts props for blockbuster MOVYS stuff that looks ordinary, but can withstand a stuntman's worst day. 6 months ago, I rolled into 23, Maple Lane with dreams of a peaceful life, a workshop in my garage, and a fresh start for me and my daughter, Sophie, who was staying with her grandma in Colorado until summer. I'd barely unpacked when Vanessa Langley, the self-anointed queen of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, decided my mailbox was her personal nemesis. What followed wasn't just a neighborhood spat, it was a war that spiraled into deception, destruction, and a mystery that still got me looking over my shoulder. Buckle up, because this story's wilder than any Hollywood script I've ever worked on. It all started innocently enough. I just hammered in a standard green mailbox, nothing flashy, just regulation size. In my line of work, you learn to protect your gear, so I wired up discreet security cameras around my front yard pro-grade, the kind we use to catch prop thieves on set. I figured they'd keep an eye on the deliveries piling up for my projects. Big mistake thinking that'd be enough. The very next day, Vanessa showed up at my door, clutching a clipboard like it was the Constitution. She was all fake smiles and knockoff Chanel, driving a 2010 Mercedes she'd polished to a mirror shine, as if sheer elbow grease could turn it into a Rolls-Royce. "Welcome to Willow Creek Meadows," she said, her tone more like a warden than a neighbor. "I'm Vanessa Langley, HOA president. Your mailbox is problematic. Our guidelines mandate sagebrush gray, not forest green. You'll need to fix that within 48 hours, or there'll be fines." I blinked at my perfectly fine mailbox, then at her. "I didn't see any color rules when I bought the place," I said, trying to keep things civil. Her smile didn't budge, but her eyes went cold, like a shark sizing up dinner. "Oh, it's a recent update," she replied, flipping through her clipboard. "Community standards, you know. We're all about property values here." Something about her smugness screamed trouble, but I was the new guy, so I nodded, repainted the mailbox sagebrush gray with a finish that'd make a MOVY prop proud, and thought that was the end of it. Spoiler, it was just the opening act. 3 days later, a crash jolted me from my workshop. Not a tap, but a bone-rattling saw-boom saw. I sprinted outside to find Vanessa standing by her Mercedes, staring at my mailbox, which was now a mangled heap of gray metal, the post bent like a straw. "Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry," she cooed, her voice syrupy with fake regret. I was pulling out from across the street, and this dog darted in front of me. I swerved and, well, these mailboxes aren't as sturdy as they look, are they? Her hands fluttered dramatically, Oscar-worthy if I hadn't spent years spotting bad acting. I told her not to worry, said I'd replace it, but her disappointed frown like she'd wanted a fight stuck with me. That night, I pulled up my security footage. What I saw wasn't an accident. Vanessa had checked her mirrors, glanced around, and then saw her Mercedes in my mailbox like she was lining up a pool shot. No dog, no swerve, just deliberate destruction. After the crash, she stepped out, inspected her bumper, and smiled. Then she stopped at the corner, made a call, and I caught her lips MOVYing. Step 1 done. On to phase 2. My stomach churned. This wasn't a clumsy neighbor. This was a plan, and I was the target. I headed to Harper's Hardware the next morning, where the owner, Rachel Harper, helped me load up on steel posts and concrete mix. "Building a fortress?" she asked, eyebrow raised. I told her about the accident, and she gave me a look. "Let me guess, Vanessa's Mercedes had a close encounter with your property." Her tone hinted this wasn't her first rodeo. I spent the weekend crafting Mailbox 2.0, a reinforced beast that looked regulation but could take a tank. I felt good about it until Vanessa started her daily inspections, strolling past my house every morning at 8 o'clock, clipboard in hand, jotting notes like she was auditing my soul. The second crash came on a blistering April afternoon, 90 degrees, not a cloud in sight. I was sanding a prop when I heard metal scream. Outside, Vanessa's Mercedes had a dented hood and a cracked windshield. My mailbox was leaning, but still standing, a testament to my engineering. She was already on her phone, spinning a tale for the cops. "Officer, it was a freak hailstorm. Visibility was 0. I couldn't help it. I looked at the bone-dry pavement, then at her, wondering if she thought I was born yesterday. When Officer Daniels arrived, he glanced at the sunny sky, then at me, his expression saying, "Saw really?" So I showed him my weather app clear all day in the footage. Vanessa's face went beet red as her story crumbled. "It was a brief squall," she stammered. "Barely noticeable unless you're driving." Daniels just scribbled in his notebook, unimpressed. Later, I dug into the footage from my upgraded camera's 3 new angles after the first hit. Vanessa had circled my block twice, parked, waited 5 minutes, then floored it straight at my mailbox. No hesitation, no buts. After the crash, she fussed over her Mercedes scratches like it was a wounded child, ignoring my battered mailbox. Then I spotted something chilling. At 1 a.m., 2 nights before, she'd crept onto my lawn with a measuring tape, snapping photos and scribbling in a notebook. This wasn't a grudge. This was reconnaissance. The next morning, an envelope was taped to my door, not a sorry note, but an HOA violation notice signed by Vanessa. It listed crimes like unpatriotic flag absence and lawn growth defiance, as if my grass was plotting a coup. I tried to play nice, buying a flag, mowing to exactly 2.5 inches, MOVYing my trash can to the precise spot. But every fix brought a new notice. My flag was up too early, my lawn was uneven, my trash can's placement was unsightly. It was like wrestling a hydra cut off one rule, and 3 more sprouted. My neighbor, Greg Sullivan, a retired attorney with a knack for finding humor in chaos, caught me measuring my grass with a ruler. "You know," he said, lounging in my patio chair, "I've lived here 4 years, and nobody slipped on dry pavement until Vanessa took over the HOA. He grinned. "Also, those lawn rules, she invented them. The real covenant just says keep it tidy. Oh, and she wanted your house before you snagged it planned to flip it into condos. You beat her bid by hours, and suddenly she's the neighborhood cop." Light bulb moment. This wasn't about mailboxes. It was revenge. I tried talking to Vanessa, catching her during one of her inspections, her fake Prada blazer screaming thrift store. "I just want to follow the rules," I said, keeping my tone even. "But they keep changing." Her smile was venomous. "This isn't your MOVYE set, Ethan. Real life has standards." I showed her a still from my cameras, her Mercedes mid-strike. "Patterns suggest planning, not accidents," I said. She stormed off, face like a thundercloud, and that night, someone tried to wipe my camera system. Good thing I'd learned from Hollywood to back everything up. The backup revealed Vanessa sneaking into my yard at midnight, planting a small VYC near my mailbox. My blood ran cold. What was she plotting now? I hit the books, digging into HOA rules, and found gold. Vanessa's own property was a violation, jackpot overgrown lawn, illegal lights, parking tickets galore. Better yet, HOA presidents could face personal liability for harassment. I marched back to Rachel's store, not for repairs, but for war. "Going full Hollywood?" Rachel asked as I grabbed industrial-grade steel. "Let's just say this mailbox will outlast a Mercedes," I replied. I built Mailbox 3.0, a regulation lookalike with a steel core sunk 3 feet into concrete. I added hidden cameras, cloud-backed, and tested it with a sledgehammer. It didn't budge. Friday morning, I heard tires screech. Vanessa had gone all in, flooring her Mercedes from 60 feet away, slamming my mailbox at 30 miles per hour. The crash was apocalyptic. Her hood crumpled, airbags popped, steam hissed. She sat there, dazed, while my mailbox stood pristine, not a scratch. My cameras caught every second. Her deliberate charge, no brakes, pure malice. As I helped her out and called 911, she stared at the mailbox, muttering, "How?" I shrugged. I build things to last. Officer Daniels re-VYEU'd the footage, his face grim. "This is no accident, Ms. Langley. Care to explain?" She called her lawyer, demanding I be arrested for dangerous traps. Plot twist. My mailbox was legal, on my property, code compliant. That night, a chilling call came. "Stop building hazards, or it's not just property you'll lose. We know people." The voice mentioned Sophie's school and her grandma's address. My heart stopped. This wasn't a game anymore. The next day, Vanessa upped the ante, plastering dangerous neighbor signs around Willow Creek, calling me a Hollywood menace who built lethal traps. She posted a VY Deo online, pointing at my mailbox with dramatic music, painting me as a VY lane. Bad move. The internet tore her apart. "This guy makes MOVYE prop school," one comment read. "She's unhinged," said another. Her 2 a.m. signposting in pajamas went VY Ral as the Midnight Vanessa, complete with memes of her tripping over tape. My phone rang. Sophie, thrilled. "Dad, my friends say you're famous. When can I see your mailbox?" Her excitement grounded me, but I knew I had to end this for her sake. Rachel called with a bombshell. Vanessa had tried using HOA funds for personal purchases, but the treasurer, Greg, shut it down. "She's been dipping into the community pot," Rachel said. I compiled my EVY dense footage. Notices that VYC, the Callan rallied neighbors who'd also been targeted. Greg called an emergency HOA meeting, and the community center was packed. Vanessa sauntered in, fake Gucci gleaming, clutching a folder she claimed would expose me. Greg dropped the hammer first, passing out bank statements showing due Law 9000 in unauthorized charges. Private investigators, legal fees, personal toys. The crowd erupted. "Our garden fund," one neighbor shouted. I plugged in my laptop and played the footage. For crashes, timestamps debunking Vanessa's lies, her midnight to VYC planting. Gasps filled the room as her final 30 miles per hour assault played. She screamed, "It's fake. He's a Hollywood liar." But Officer Daniel stood up. "The footage is clean. And those threats you reported, Ethan, traced to a burner phone bought with HOA cash." Vanessa's face drained of color. A neighbor moved to oust her. The vote was 25-1. She was done. The fallout was swift. Charges piled up. Vandalism, harassment, embezzlement. A PI she'd hired confessed she'd paid him to frame me. Vanessa took a plea restitution, Ser VYC, a restraining order. The HOA sued her for the stolen funds. Weeks later, I saw her loading a U-Haul, her Mercedes a totaled relic. Greg, now HOA president, slashed the rulebook to one page of common sense. The neighborhood breathed again. Then Hollywood came knocking. A producer, Laura Kim, called, "Your mailbox story's gold. Want to consult on a suburban thriller series, Saw build props for our action show." Vanessa's war had launched my career. When Sophie arrived for summer, she ran to the mailbox, awestruck. "Dad, teach me to build like this." Watching her, I knew the real win wasn't beating Vanessa, it was GIVYing Sophie a safe home. But here's the kicker. One night, as I tucked Sophie in, I spotted a figure under a streetlight, aiming a telephoto lens at my house. Not Vanessa, someone new. The game wasn't over. So what do you think? Was Vanessa just a petty tyrant, or was she a pawn in something bigger? Should I have gone easier on her, or was she asking for it? And that mystery photographer, what's their deal? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe. I got a feeling this story's got more twists to come.